Well, you know what time it is. Welcome to the Unfiltered Podcast SDA. This is the space where nothing is sugar-coated, where questions are welcomed and the truth refuses to be silenced. Here, we dive into the prophetic, the hidden, and the urgent, from Revelation and Daniel to the realities of today's church and the world around us. This is where we unpack the youth struggles, faith, identity, and culture, all through the lens of the scripture, prophecy, and the roots of our faith. Therefore, each and every week, we expose compromise, decode deception, and explore what it really means to be a faithful, awake, and unapologetic Adventist in these closing stages of the world's history. So why don't you buckle up, open your eyes, and prepare to think differently. Challenge what you've been taught and awaken to the truth that's been waiting for you all along. You are not just listening, you are joining a movement. This is the Unfiltered Podcast SDA. Truth, no filter, and a voice for a generation that refuses to sleep. Maranatha. Well, you know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Unfiltered Podcast SDA. You better not miss this one out, ladies and gentlemen. Probably asking yourself, hey, Batum, what is happening at this point in time? The Adventist platform speaking politics. Well, my elder, my good youth leader, we are not apostatizing at this point in time. We're having a very important conversation at this point in time where we are speaking all things politics, all things prophecy, and most importantly, all things development. Because we've got to understand as believers that salvation is not the conclusion of our history, but only the introduction. And what we want to find out today, whether you are a liberal, whether you are a conservative, we want to ask the fundamental question as to, should we keep quiet when there's inflation, when there are protests? I mean, even now, there are people with purple wallpapers going all around. What is the role of a Christian in relation to that? Are we going to be heavenly minded, yet earthly useless? But at the very same time, I understand your view. Why is an Adventist speaking about politics while we know that politics is ruled by the beast? So what should we be doing? So we need to have an engagement about that. But let me tell you now, this is the perfect candidate to have this interaction with. Hey, the pastor all the way from Hammanskrali, Surman. Hey, we've got the pastor in the building, Pastor Bafana Phillip Phalane. I don't know, you're a pastor?
Yeah.
Your pastor. My pastor, we welcome you onto the Unfiltered Podcast SDA. Great time to have a conversation. We are thinking to ourselves, you should be the perfect candidate to have such an engagement because I don't know if we are living contradiction or not. Okay. Right? Yeah. Because you're a pastor, but a pastor whom we can relate to. Because you discuss issues that matter. Okay. But the church that we come from, we have a certain posture towards politics. Towards activism. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's a very highly sensitive interview. Okay. But we are trying to open, bridge between the liberals and the conservatives and say, maybe let's hear what your perspective is, all right, in relation to this. And we do know there's some exciting news, by the way. On the 6th of December, there is a launch. Right? Is it in Benoni? Right in Benoni. The Tales of Democracy. You'll see right there on the platform. Just check the pinned comment section. Press on that link and you will be there. You've never had a time where you have a philosopher, a theologian, a pastor, a journalist, all on one table, discussing
whether South Africa is collapsing or whether there's hope for this country or because asina umuzi la rona re afita mane fatshe are still greater. So we want to have that discussion because many of us are saying we have no city here, no abiding city here. So why should we sit down and talk about such? The pastor is here to talk about that. Muruti,
sure.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Many of us, we just know you as Pastor Phalane, Bafana, the one who wears ANC attires, Palestinian,
scarves. Full of ANC.
Unapologetically, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
ANC.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But we see that,
yeah.
right? But what we then want to know, I think we know what you are, your title, but we don't know who you are. That maybe let's transition. Who's Bafana? Who's Bafana Phillip Phalane?
Yeah, I was born in Hammanskraal. My mother was born there, and everyone I know was born there. My grandfather, people going back. That's where we come from. We originate from there.
Yes.
I was born there and I went to school there, and that's.
When was this? When was this?
I was born in 1990. So
only 1K.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I was born in 1990 in March, and I started school there, local school, not far from home in the village. It was still a village. I don't know now.
I think it is. We were there in February. It was quite dusty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we are from the real Hammanskraal. Hammanskraal is big.
Surman.
Yeah, that's where everything started. The place grew from there towards different directions, but that's the homeland. Yeah.
So you are then in primary,
middle school, high school. We still had middle school. So
middle school.
Yeah.
What is middle school?
Middle school was from grade 8 to 9.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, and then from there 10, 11, 12. Still in Hammanskraal, and then from there, I went to tertiary, went to Helderberg, studied theology, and studied somewhere else.
When you mentioned, I would want to say something about Helderberg, but we'll talk about it later on. That's true, yeah. So you go to Helderberg at this point in time.
Yeah.
So I guess you had an inclination towards theology.
Yeah, I think for most part of it, it was curiosity. Yeah, I just wanted to know exactly what the hell is happening.
What the hell is happening?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the church, and there were these guys who would come once in a while, who were pastors, and they would tell us things and stuff. But I was so curious, how did they know all these things and stuff? So even when I got to Helderberg, when they asked me why, I said I'm here to study, because I just wanted to understand. But in my first day, I got to understand everything. And
then what?
And followed my passion.
What is your passion? But I want to know, you went there because of curiosity.
Yeah.
Was your curiosity fed?
But of course, I grew up in the church. I was a church boy, and I loved the church. I still do. I grew up there. I was a boy who carried the keys. I used to open the church and stuff. So my background is the church. So me deciding to go study theology to become a pastor was not a difficult thing for me. And my support system supported my family, they're all in the church.
And apparently, when you go to Helderberg, right, you won't go deep into it, but you go to Helderberg as this conservative Adventist.
Yeah, I was.
But something happens at Helderberg.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what it is. I don't know what the transition it is. I don't know what it is. So when you go to Helderberg, right, I don't want us to go into changes, but how did it impact your theological thing? Because, by the way, an Adventist will tell you, even conservatives will say, and there's a total differentiation between a Helderberg pastor and a Solusi pastor, and there's certain maybe negative inclination amongst the conservatives, amongst you guys. Do you think there's a fair deduction to be negative towards those who come from Helderberg?
Look, there is a difference between Helderberg and Solusi. I wouldn't deny that. But I'll speak for myself. I can't speak for other people. But you also have conservative people from Helderberg. just that the culture there is different. I think people are a bit liberal. We are not afraid of questioning things that people are afraid of questioning. But that does not mean we are liberal. I have friends who are very conservative, but they're from Helderberg. I think that is created by people who are looking from outside, the church members. And of course, they've got their favorites, and we know some of us are not their favorites. Which is fine. Which is fine. But Helderberg for me was very important. It opened my eyes to the world, not only theologically, to the world, to the real world. Before I went to Helderberg, I must say, I thought like I'm going to study very soon. Things will happen. Jesus is coming, and I must keep my family safe and stuff.
You must go to the mountains. You must go to the countryside.
Which was a naive way of looking at life. I mean, life must go on, despite your theological understanding.
Life must go on.
Life goes on. Life goes on. All the people we revere the most, all the religious people, they live life and they died. We're also going to live and die and move on. So we can't hold the world ransom because of our theology. We can't. What you believe is what you believe. Believe it and move. People must come and move.
Move on. You mentioned something about Helderberg, about it being an institution of question. Because I asked myself, that maybe that's why we are accused as the SDA Church of being cultic. Because the moment you question, it's like you've apostatized, right? And my question would be, if you are believing in the truth, would you be scared of it being questioned?
Yep. Human beings are not interested in truth. Human beings want comfort. We live in a political society, whether you're in the church or it's all about what I have is better than yours. Our church is better than yours. I mean, we live in a church with over 16,000 religions. Somehow we're now in South Africa, in Johannesburg. We think yours is the real one. We live in the world like that. So that gives you comfort. And the comfort is that what I believe is true. So that's the comfort.
We're the remnant, so we believe. What I mean? Maybe that's why we are so little. We think of, 20 million of us because maybe it is because of us having the truth, or
it is all political. All of it is all political. Even if I bring a church with identical belief system as yours, you're still going to believe that yours is better because they are not with you.
Because you're saying Muslims, Buddhists, they believe the same way. Because one of my family members asked me something, right, which boggled my mind. He said, if you were born in the Middle East, do you know that you're going to be a Muslim?
Yeah, definitely. So
and I was like, oh my word,
and you have about 2 billion people in China, and they're not Christian. So you want to tell me you were born somewhere here in the location, somehow you have the truth that 2 billion people don't have. So we need to open our mind to the reality of the world, that we are all human and we are all looking for meaning, and it is a continuous search for meaning, and find what is good for you and live a purposeful life, make an impact and move. That's life.
And you mentioned primarily about you coming from Hammanskraal, Suleiman, right? I know quite a number. I know quite a number of people. Close friend of mine, Otto, Pastor Stiba. I don't know if Buti finds his origin there as well. Right. I know them. Because I know the caliber of people that come from Hammanskraal, right? You can say key thought leaders, revolutionaries, you might want to say. I want you to go back now to Suleiman, growing up, as to how does you growing up in Hammanskraal, Suleiman, shape your political view as well as your religious perspective on the world? Yes.
I would say politically, it was not where I came from. My politics were shaped by people like Nelson Mandela and people we revered when we were growing up and stuff. But politically, we were not that big where I come from. Hammanskraal is known as a place of the church, but strong people who are very militant come from there. I think it's because of, it's because of the community. It's the community that is not afraid, I would say. Some of my family members, close friends from there. We're just not afraid of questioning stuff, and that background along the way, it meshed with my political ideology, the African National Congress and stuff, and yeah, I think Amaskral as a place has played an important role in shaping my choices, life choices.
Nothing that.
Yeah.
Because you just say something here. We bring about militant people.
Yeah.
Right. Let's agree.
Yeah.
You're not a typical SDA pastor.
No.
Right?
I'm not
You
the first.
But you can agree.
Yeah.
Pastor Phalane, as you know,
Yeah, of course.
he's not a typical SDA pastor.
Yeah.
Right? This is a guy who speaks on social justice.
Yes.
You speak on black thought, you speak on activism, and not just behind closed doors,
Yes.
but you do it boldly so. You know,
Yeah.
there's a point I was like, I've seen you at a camp meeting, so you're wearing ANC.
Yeah.
Now, I want to know, for someone who's curious there,
Yeah.
what informs such a stance? Where you say, you know what, I'm an SDA pastor, that's fair,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to suspend my activism and my party affiliation.
Yeah.
Right.
Look, when during the struggle, when people were in churches worshiping, Adventists for that matter, there were people in the streets who were protecting the church from being violated. The church was protected by activists. So we can't now vilify activists and say it is wrong to be an activist, it is wrong to belong to a certain political party. Where we come from as a nation, the issues of the country affected all of us equally, whether we are in the church or outside of the church. We know of pastors who were in the trenches, who fought.
SDA pastors.
SDA pastors who were in the trenches, who fought for liberation head on. We know of people who spoke when it was unfamiliar to do so. People like Pastor Nkapo, who was very, very, very militant about his beliefs and social justice. He was recognized by big people like Desmond Tutu. He was there. So why is it now a wrong thing?
Well, maybe it's because our church, maybe let's ask a question.
Yeah.
What is the Adventist church position during apartheid? Why did Nelson Mandela say, I am not going to meet with your church leaders?
Yeah, well, we know that our church as an institution did not really support the struggle. That's a fact, but we have church members who did. And for me to say I can't be associated with a certain political party or certain issues, I think that's hypocrisy. So it got to a point where I had to make a personal decision. This is what I'm going to do, and it affected me negatively in the church. Many things. For example, I was ordained later than other people because the reason was I'm wearing an NC t-shirt. Then I said, you know what, I'd rather not be ordained. But I was ordained later on, eventually. But it's something that I had to stand by. You see, I told myself that my ideas are my ideas and they're not connected to any institution.
But how did the church receive you and how did it affect you? Like in that way,
In the beginning,
when there's a sort of isolation maybe, ostracization, how the human in you, in all fairness, how did you receive it? Because apparently the church does have people, but we always make, so.
I think one thing that gave me peace is that my ideas are not attached to any institution. So I did not seek validation in the church. I did not do it because I'm here and we're all here and we're not here forever. No one is going to be king here. The church will love you and discard you. That's just life. They will love you, you'll be famous, you'll be this person, at some point they'll just discard you. So I decided to fight my own battles, and the struggle I'm fighting is eternal. It is the struggle of humanity. Human beings will always fight for justice, will always fight for...
But why wear the ANC t-shirt? Why wear a Palestine scarf?
It is my political ideology. That one is my political ideology. The issue of Palestine, it is not it's not so much about. Of course, it's about Palestinian people and the children who died under injustice. But it is a global issue where you have this powerful nation called Israel that controls the whole world. They are in intelligence of almost each and every country. They control governments. But I belong to a country that stood up against Israel to say, oh, what you're doing is wrong, what you're doing is genocide, it's genocidal. The whole world did not want to call Israel genocidal. It was South Africa who said Israel is genocidal, and they took it to court. We're still in court right now. Mentioned the word. Only now that other countries are joining the ICJ court case, like Brazil, Spain, and other countries, they're starting to speak up. So I belong to that country. So I'm not afraid of wearing a Palestinian regalia because I belong to a country that decided to hold them accountable. So,
well, there's an elder watching this right now on a Sabbath evening saying, why are you as a pastor so invested in that? I mean, why are you talking about Palestine? Why are you talking about the ANC? It's not your role to shepherd the flock.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, I've got many roles. I don't. Yeah, you can't box me in one thing. But I do a lot of things in the community. I write on different things. I write on gender-based violence. I write on climate change. I write on politics. I advise people, big people in the country before on issues I research on. So I've got those roles, and all of it is a love for humanity. Even my decision to be a pastor is because I love human beings.
So it's just a certain aspect. It's not the whole aspect of Pastor Bafana. It's just a certain aspect.
I don't want to be remembered as a pastor only. That's tragic. I mean, you can't. You are given a chance to live.
Yeah. Wow.
There's a chance you were given to live, and you have only one life to live. So why not try many things and die? You know. So if you want to be remembered as that person, I don't want to. Even the people I look up to are not like that. Yeah.
You mentioned people you look up to. I'd want to know.
Yeah.
Looking at you now.
Yeah.
Who are you? Who do you look up to? I want to know because that will give us a direction as to where you want to be.
Yeah.
So I want to know who is this person or these people that you look up to. I'll give you quite a number of options. Maybe in the SDA church.
In the SDA
2 pastors or 2 members, whatever you look up to.
Yeah.
In civic society,
Yeah.
2. In politics, 2. Who are these guys that you look up to?
In the South Adventist church, I don't know if I can mention this without becoming political. But
Yes, sir.
yeah. In the South Adventist church, I think there's one guy who can stand, you know, and that's Pastor Sitsiva. Yeah, that's
Yes, Pastor Mokua, don't fire him, man.
No,
I know. I know it's a joke.
I admire the guy.
Okay.
And I don't agree with him in everything he does.
Fair.
I don't think there's anyone I agree with wholeheartedly. I don't agree with him in a number of things, but this is a guy who stood when it was not possible for someone to stand against such a giant institution and stand his ground.
What did he stand against?
Oh, you know what he stands.
What did he stand on? Which giant institution is this?
Seventh-day Adventist church.
Yeah.
He stood against the church all the way. If you go to the general conference now, they know him. Yeah, and we can discuss what he stood for. But as a person, I take examples like that to be very, very strong. Some of my inspiration, some of the battles I fought in my life, it is because of how other people stood and never wavered depending on the issues they're discussing. So I would say in the church, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
And let's move into the civic space.
Civic society, I have no doubt, unapologetically Nelson Mandela.
Really?
Unapologetically.
I think that as Gen Z, we would then want to.
Yeah, of course, the Gen Z.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because
you
follow the Gen Zs, they follow Julius Malema.
No, besides Julius being part of it,
Yeah.
I look, in fact, my criticism of the ANC,
Yeah.
personally,
Yeah.
I don't view it from its inception as a vehicle for people who would lead a revolution.
Yeah.
You look at the people who start the ANC.
Yeah.
You know, these
Yeah,
are your lawyers, these are your chiefs,
those
these
are
are
the elites of
those are
the
the ANC. We're not saying we want to overthrow the government.
Yeah.
All right? They're saying let us unite.
Yeah.
So it was never a revolutionary party in my view. I don't know if you're.
Look, the ANC, the people. If I look into history, those were the eloquent people in society who had access to speak to the monarch, the British monarch. And
They pledged their allegiance, by the way, to the throne of the Queen.
If we talk, it was the time.
Yeah.
We can talk about scientists like people like Galileo Galilei and the people who fought against religion. They were all church members. So we can't say, we can't vilify the ANC for pledging their allegiance to.
I'm just saying,
it was fashionable.
to?
It was fashionable at the time to pledge your allegiance to the monarch. It was fashionable.
Oh, I thought it was there to live.
We pledge ourselves. We pledge our allegiance to the Seventh-day Adventist, though we don't agree. Though we don't agree. So at the time, So that would be my thing. But someone like Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela is the one who started the MK. They're the ones who said to the ANC, "You guys are wasting time. Let's take this thing to the streets." That was Nelson Mandela. You can say
which Nelson Mandela are you referring to? The one Reverend Island or the one post?
It's one man.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, I'm taking in terms of ideological standing. Which one? I want to make sure.
Yeah, we all evolve along the way. But this is the guy who said the African National Congress is wasting time by speaking English and, trying to make peace with the government and stuff. So, let's form this. And they did. And they went to, for 22 years, the ANC, I'm not sure if it's 22 years, but 20-something years, the ANC rejected taking the arms. But eventually they agreed that, okay, let's take this thing to the streets. That's the Nelson.
Another influence of Nelson.
They started the Youth League. They started the MK. So that's the guy actually. And he eventually built a nation. So
he built that?
The nation.
I asked myself in my first year. We read South African law and its thing, right?
Yeah.
And I want to tell you something. He built out a nation of who? Of South Africans.
South Africa, yeah.
Now, I asked myself, at what point in history do invaders become citizens?
Yeah.
Who negotiated that? I'm trying to find. I'm like, we're going to the battle, we're fighting. Now, when does your oppressor and your invader become a fellow citizen?
Yeah. Well, we can discuss that. Look, we cannot deny immigration. Immigration is part of humanity. We are not from here.
Immigration or colonization?
I'm still
talking about immigration. Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm getting to colonization. Firstly, the conversation of white people living in South Africa, it is not just colonization.
Okay.
There are people who just followed the times, who just said, okay, we're going to Africa, there's the sun every day. People just followed and came here. But there is a system that Nelson Mandela was fighting, which is colonization, people coming here. That's the system Nelson Mandela was fighting. But when he came out of the jail, things had already changed. Things had lapsed. And the only way to bring food on the table at the time was to make peace. Because
peace with who?
With whoever was involved, white people.
Yeah.
White people. I can mention it.
Yeah.
White people.
Yeah. No, like what?
It was not
with your. I thought Nelson Mandela started the struggle, right?
Yeah.
The armed struggle to over this country. Yeah. No, I'm saying I thought, right? Because I'm saying when the ANC then goes there, but he comes back and you see negotiate. I've never, I don't know, maybe I'm being naive.
Yeah.
I've never seen a revolution being negotiated where there's never a bloodshed.
Yeah.
And that's why we talk about his book, The Tales of Democracy.
Yeah, but enough blood was shed. Remember?
Where?
In South Africa.
Yeah.
Over the years. Nelson Mandela is part of the generation that shed a lot of blood.
For what though? Look at us, we will come to it.
Yeah. So some of the things that the ANC negotiated were compromising positions.
But we needed that.
Yeah. And I don't think it was the best. I don't think the ANC did their best, but for the time and the people who were involved in that particular conversation, I think they did their best. And for me to speak 30 years after and say, hey, that was wrong and stuff, that's kind of unfair. But we have to hold ANC accountable, I agree. We have to hold them accountable. There are a lot of things they did that did not help us, I agree. But Nelson Mandela, for me, is one of the...
No, I guess I would go with this diplomacy. It's quite diplomatic.
Yeah.
I think that's the president we needed for whatever transition we had, right, to bring both parties in. But I was just representing a certain aspect of society,
of course.
the Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Okay, now we move into that. So that's the guy. Now politically right now, what are you looking up to?
Now.
Politically.
Right now. A person or the direction or...
Yeah, no, person or direction.
For me, I think the person who must be president in South Africa right now is Patrice Motsepe. That's what I think.
Guys, is your pastor a revolutionary? Did you hear that?
No. I did.
Eh?
I
A billionaire must be a president.
I think so.
Let me hear you out.
I think so. And look, South Africa, the relationship between South Africa and the ANC has been terrible over the years.
Okay.
It has been terrible, and the ANC has forced leaders on the society, and these are leaders that were always rejected. But the ANC was adamant that this must be the leaders.
Okay.
So we are at a point now where things are a bit stable. Of course, with the government that we don't really prefer, which is government of national unity. But I think under the circumstances,
why would Patrice Motsepe become a relevant candidate for where we are? I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
Because this is a billionaire.
South Africa needs someone who will understand the contradictions happening in the country. South Africa is one of the best countries in Africa, but we have the worst poverty. We have like real poverty in South Africa. But when you travel Africa, we are still the best country. So that means there is a blanket on top that shields the world from seeing the realities happening in the countries. And ANC is mixed up in that. And I think the ANC is struggling to come out of that problem. So someone like Patrice Motsepe from the civil society, from the business world, from the ANC, he embodies all the contradictions we have in the country. He is black, he is from the trenches, he is from poverty, he is now where we want the country to be. I think
he would, because once you say you want a revolution, well, not necessarily a revolution, but you want to fix a system.
We have to fix the system.
Would you fix a system in which you are a beneficiary of? Realistically speaking, if you are benefiting from it, would you want to change it? Because if you change it, you're no longer going to benefit that much. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, I think it's made enough money for me. I think it's made enough money. I think it's made enough money, and I think that his brand will actually help us. Yeah, will help us. We live in a world that believes in a brand right now. You go everywhere in the world, they know our country because of Nelson Mandela. Yes. That's the brand he gave us. And people, the world is dealing with us based on what they know about us. So we really need to fix the brand of the country.
But I don't think the brand. I have to disagree, man.
For example, Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
They've got the best brand.
What are they getting?
What are they getting out of it? They're going to have a revolutionary. But is it the country you want to live in? It's going to take a long time. And that's if Traore can live that long to actually turn things around. But in South Africa right now, we need to put food on the table tomorrow. So we need to find ways to do this revolution. So we must be dynamic.
Sounds like an ANC, because clearly you're not against the system. You're saying let's be part of it, but let's reform from within. Yeah. You're not saying let's abolish the entire thing. Let's get someone who's been part of the system.
I start from zero.
No. No, to be honest, because I know people who say we're a revolution. Do you understand? Let's be honest about it, right? Like this country will have to bend.
Yes.
Right? And you're gonna have to start over for 200 years. Yes. What then do you? Because I would love to know, like in your view, Juju, Malusi, Gigaba, what's your view on those two?
I think you can't compare the two.
Okay.
Yeah, these are two different people. And I think when I look at Malusi Gigaba, I see Thabo Mbeki because he was heavily influenced by him. He's from that era and of politics and stuff. Very educated.
It's a doctor now, I think.
He's a doctor. People who love education. He reads every day. Those are people who love education and stuff. But we need also, we do not need only that caliber of people.
Okay.
Yeah. We need a balance of both. People who will hold people accountable. And I think Juju plays a very important role in our society, opening people's eyes to issues that are very important. You know, when you see a pothole now, you know that this must be fixed by government. A few years ago, that was not the case. So people like Juju are also important in politics.
So we need a mixture.
Yeah, we need a mixture of both. We also need diplomacy because the world works with
that.
Yeah.
So you've written a book,
Yeah.
which is being launched on the 6th of December
Yeah.
in Binoni.
Yeah.
The Tales of
Democracy.
Yeah. One of your, I don't know, is your father or what, or your role models. I know my father. No. I want to talk about Pongs.
Oh,
Ponga.
Oh,
No, I don't know what you refer to him as. What do you say?
Yeah, well, I think he's more of
A friend.
Yeah.
Your friend, Pongs, right? Democracy says it's demon crazy, right? We are living in 2025 in South Africa. High unemployment rate. In fact, amongst the youth between 8, I think when you're 16 and 30, it's so high.
Yeah.
Inflation is at an all-time high. Sales delivery is poor.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to know, when you introduce your book,
Yeah.
and I want us to have a discussion on whether democracy is a burden
Okay.
or a blessing.
Okay.
You introduce us to your book,
Yeah.
and you say, democracy as a concept is not the destination,
Yeah.
neither is it final, nor is it perfect.
Yeah.
And before we even talk about those characteristics, what is your understanding of democracy?
Yeah. I think from the book's perspective,
Yes.
I want there are many things I wanted to write about government, about how things work, but I could not jump there without dealing with the elephant in the room, which is democracy. And the book proves one thing. My argument is that democracy is neither Western nor African. Democracy is a way of life. Human beings always find ways to organize themselves, and that's democracy for me. Whether we organize ourselves under a king or under whatever, democracy is a human instinct to say, okay, you are now the leader.
It's not a colonial construct.
No. Colonization used it for their own benefit. The colonizers used it.
Yes.
But I believe for as long as humans have been on this planet with the right minds like we have, they've always organized themselves. Kings always had advisors. Kings always had chiefs who ruled under them. That's democracy. People going from one stage to another, people representing themselves. So that's the whole point of the book. To say, because I'm bringing it closer so that people are not afraid of it. So that we can be able to question it, to say, okay, removing a person and putting another one, it's still democracy. We are not destroying democracy when we act on it. So that's the whole point of the book. So, yeah.
So you say the process of organizing, right, and leadership being a reflection of the constituency, I guess. It's democracy. Whether it's by Europe or Africa, but it's been existent throughout, it's just syntax.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But now you're saying that concept is not final.
It is not.
It is not the destination, nor is it perfect.
Because human beings don't stay the same forever. So, how we choose our leaders now, if you go and come back in 100 years, people will be using different systems, but it will still be democracy. So that's the whole point of the book, to say we must constantly fight, and evolve and become better people. And democracy must not be an institution, it must be a tool we use. Say, okay, this thing doesn't work anymore. Let's try another way.
And one would be curious to find out why when did you start writing this?
I think it took about 4 years.
4 years, wow.
Yeah.
Right, but what inspires you then to get to that point? Obviously now it's 2025.
Yeah.
To say, you know what, I need to talk about this, as you call it, the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
What inspires you as a black person, as a writer, as an advisor, as a pastor?
Yeah.
What makes you say, I need to deal with this?
I think I was heavily influenced by the people I was talking about.
Yes.
Nelson Mandela, when he spoke about democracy, the world stood still. When he spoke about representation, when he spoke about human rights, justice in the country, for me, it's unmatched. No one can match him.
Nelson
Mandela. So, but as I studied deeper, I understood that even Joseph Stalin was catapulted by a democratic institution to be where he was. Those are democratic institutions. Hitler. Yeah, those guys were catapulted by democracy to be where they were. So I draw comparisons from different people who say, okay, if Hitler was was molded by a democratic institution and Nelson Mandela. And so these are two polarized people, polarized ideas. So let us talk about democracy. What is this thing that always lets humanity down? And that's the whole point of the book. Let's talk about it. Yeah, so that's what influenced me.
You mentioned Hitler, you mentioned Joseph Nelson,
Yeah.
and these are like contradictions, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And for me, democracy is a concept, collapses under contradiction. I'll let you know now.
Yeah.
Hitler goes to the top
Yeah.
through a democratic
Collapse.
mechanism.
Yeah.
But when he gets to the top,
Yeah. So yeah.
he contradicts
It
it.
contradicts it. Yeah.
And
They
looking
use,
at this,
yeah, they use democracy to rise because democracy, people tend to trust people on top, people who are in leadership.
who are a reflection of, like, they saying, let them vote for me.
Yes, and to tell you the truth, we in the book I speak about demagogues, people who are very, very talented in convincing people. People like Donald Trump, he's unmatched. You can't match him. Every time he speaks, a lot of people agree with what he's saying, but he's dividing people. That's what he does. And people, we want that. Human beings don't want the truth. Human beings want comfort. Yeah. So that's why he speaks about Christians. He says we need to bring God back into the system and stuff. Because he wants Christians. He wants Christians to vote for him. We all know that Donald Trump is not a Christian, but he's very smart in doing whatever.
So he went out and
came back. Yeah, he speaks to the emotion. But once he's up there, he does his own thing. That's what Joseph Stalin did. That's what Hitler did. People thought Hitler was going to be a good leader. Hitler spoke about business. Hitler said we can't be ruled by people who are from outside. We need economic liberation, economic emancipation. And people are like, oh, this guy is going to liberate. And then they voted for him. And then he did something else. People like, democracy gives us people like Gaten McKinnon. Men from jail who did whatever he did. He comes back and says, foreigners must go.
Abraham.
Yeah, and he knows he's going to appeal to a certain group in the society that feels like foreigners are taking our jobs.
But it would not be that, for example, say you Gaten. It's
Yeah.
not per se that he really believes in that. But
Yeah.
he say, let me appeal to their emotions.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think he means what he's saying. I don't think he really understands.
And when does he realize that?
Everyone, when you have political ambitions, you have to find a way to speak about issues, especially if you're not honest with yourself. Yeah. Gaten McKenzie, if you go back in history, he was a different person from what he is right now. His ideas, I don't even want to talk about Gaten McKenzie. There are many people we can speak about. Yeah. Yeah. So democratic institution, it is fragile to those kind of people. Because democracy opens the door for everyone. And we don't all have the same goals in life. Those who want to be rich, they use the democratic state to be rich. Those who want control and power, they use it. And there are those who are still open and who want their society to be better. Unfortunately, there are very few. So there's money involved now. It's not about revolution anymore and stuff. So
that's what I'm saying, because what you say is so true. Yes, they appeal to our emotions, and we want to hear what they're saying. I look at the ANC, that appeals to a mixture. I think it's a church, the ANC. You know, you've got revolutionaries in there, liberals, conservatives. Look at MK.
it's a broad church,
MK focuses on the disgruntled members of the African National Congress who feel like, the ANC is captured by white monopoly capital.
Yeah.
Also capitalized. I won't say they are, what is it called, tribal. I don't think MK is tribal.
It is. Part of it. I don't think all of it.
Part of it is, but these are people saying the ANC have let us down.
Yeah.
Then perhaps President Zuma says, there's an opportunity here.
Yeah.
Let me speak a message that relates to them.
Yes.
Julius says, there's a pioneer, the young people who feel like these madalas are taking too long. So let me speak about the revolution, let me speak about, even Shivambu as well now sees, okay now. So the point I'm saying is, so are we facing that internal danger as South Africa at this point? I don't know.
Yeah. I think part of why I wrote the book is I want people to interact with the democratic system. People must shape their way. And when we have an idea of the kind of society we want,
Yes.
then we will be able to produce leaders who can fulfill that mandate. But at the moment, human beings people don't have a mandate. They don't have an idea of what they want. That's why anyone can make it. That's why anyone can just, and then we all follow. I mean, there are people who are ANC, they went to COPE, they went to MK, they went to EFF. There are people like that. We just go everywhere.
Yeah.
It's because we do not organize ourselves as human beings. Our forefathers were better. They organized themselves under a king. That was their constant to say, okay, everything we want to achieve, we are going to achieve it under this person.
Yeah.
And they did that. So we do not have that. So I'm presenting a democratic idea there to say, okay, let us build a democratic concept, the kind of society we want as people. Say, okay, this is the kind of society we want. What kind of children do you want? Okay, what kind of education do you want? What kind of business do you want and stuff? Let us build a democratic system. And that particular democratic system will eventually bring leaders who will fulfill that particular mandate.
So you're starting a dialogue. Like,
yes.
let's start talking about this thing, not as something that's not reachable, but something that relates.
Once we start doing that, we are going to stop glorifying individuals. Because I think South Africa is struggling from that. We glorify individuals. Someone comes, oh, we love Zuma. I was part of the people who loved Zuma.
So why did you not join MK?
I left the Zuma politics a long time ago, before he even started MK. There are a lot of things that I do not agree with Zuma about. He wants to divide the society because he's disgruntled.
Is it not because he's got the best interests of the country?
Take the fall. People may be fair politically, and then he quietly went away.
But he's back now.
Yeah.
So he's doing podcasts and.
Yeah, but he can't come into the ANC and try to divide the ANC. He failed as a president.
But what if people are saying you are being complacent with the ANC?
No, I'm not.
You know, it's apparently it's captured. You've got a president allegedly who aligns with white monopoly capital.
Look,
but you still say you believe it's the vehicle to liberate us when it's in cahoots with white monopoly.
What the ANC, people don't like hearing this. What the ANC did for this country, I don't think it's enough. They did a lot for the country. Yeah, but this is the only country in the world where you can buy a steak of meat and a glass of wine for 250 rand. Go to Botswana, go to Zimbabwe, go to any other place in the world.
Yeah.
Things are expensive. I agree. Things must change. I agree. We are struggling with poverty. I agree. The middle class cannot break out of this ceiling that the economy is putting on us. I agree. Completely. But for me to join the group that says the ANC did nothing, I can't do that. EFF, I agree, EFF is a very important component in our society. Though I may not agree with the things they do. MK, I'm yet to see where they're going, but
Right.
I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't think it's going anywhere because I don't think he had time to do whatever he wanted to do. He's a very smart man. He authored the EFF mandate. Whatever you know about EFF, building that whole party. That was flawed. Yeah. So there are many things we have to be objective about stuff. You see, but I'm also objective about my political ideology. I'm objective that the ANC did the wrong thing by expelling Julius Malema. I'm objective that the EFF did things that the ANC could not do. I'm objective about that. But I'm also, you must allow us also to be objective. The African National Congress has been the best party in Africa in developing South Africa.
With 30% unemployment rate, the highest unemployment rate in the world.
Our issues are unique. Our issues are unique, and when it comes to that, I would not go in deeper. That's why I said ANC can do better. And maybe
because they would say, I'm speaking on their behalf, when you say it's the best, but the best? What metrics are you using to say?
It's in our rules.
Terrible. Compared to what?
Compared to other countries.
But why are you using inferiority to compare to them? No. Maybe we use, maybe I'm trying to, I'm speaking for the people, not me.
But recently I had an opportunity to be in Europe.
Yeah.
I missed home. I missed home. Because, look, I don't think there's anything great about Europe. They may point fingers It has. I don't think there's anything great because poverty is real.
Really?
It's bad. Poverty is real because people are struggling to break into that rich society, European society. So if you are down there, you're probably going to be there forever. That's just about it.
So you say, let us use this system that has got this
Contradiction.
What I hear about you're saying, the concept is right, but the custodians of the leadership seems to the problem. You further go on to say in the book now that democracy is not stagnant. It's an evolving. And I want to know. So how do we as South Africans now join into this? Are we being spectators to this evolving, or must we start being?
I think democracy dies because there are a lot of spectators and actors in democracy. People are standing outside and say, this ANC, okay, why don't you vote for a different party? Go and vote. Vote us out. So that
the other day I was thinking, to be honest, I was like, okay, cool. We might have closed the ANC, right? But what is the alternative?
Go vote. Take us out. take the ANC out so that we can continue. And this thing already, our president is white monopoly capital and stuff. Look, I can say that about any president. President Zuma went to Orania and he said he doesn't see anything wrong with this place. Zuma, the revolutionary. He went to Orania, where white people were, so he doesn't see anything wrong with this. If people want to be self-determination and stuff, he said that. So you want to tell me that out of everyone who's been a leader in the ANC, Zuma is the only revolutionary. Cyril Ramaphosa organized societies when people were in the trenches outside of the country. Cyril Ramaphosa was involved with the union.
But I trust you cannot do that.
No.
You cannot speak about Ramza.
No.
Let's be honest to who he is.
No, the ANC gave us different people. The ANC gave us different. Baby was not even in the country. He lived in London. But yet he's our hero. Nelson Mandela was in jail. Yet he's our hero. He was in jail when people were fighting. Real people died in the streets. And they were not there. Real people died. So why should we now put a scale to say, okay, this one is better than this one? Everyone had a role to play. Our parents remained in the rural areas and built families. When it was unfashionable to do so, people were in the mines making money. They refused and said, no, we are not going there. We are going to remain here. Those are our heroes. So each and every component of the society contributed to the struggle. So for me to pick one person and say Zuma is the real one, never.
Yeah, if you look at the development of South Africa from this era, 2007 to 2018, look at the infrastructure development, the HIV and AIDS rollout, and at the time, and you speak a lot to the black people, even I think we had the Black CEOs organization, and all of those, he played a major role. I mean, I don't think South Africa ever experienced such a huge rollout of infrastructure than in the days of Zuma.
Okay.
I don't think black people ever benefited from the economy.
Let me give you an example. The issue of land. He was very vocal about it.
One is about to leave,
I mean, the issue of land. But when it comes to the investment that was made, the money that was put towards correcting the issue of land, they used more money. Yet he was not talking more about it and stuff. So, look, we can compare this leader.
But apparently I had Ndlozi speak. I was interviewing, I don't know who was speaking to, right? He says it is in the era of Mbeki that Afrikaners became more richer than in the era of apartheid.
Because the economy was doing well. Look, when the economy is doing well, those who make money are the ones who are on top. So that's what happens. So we can't really criticize the country based on who the leader was and stuff. It depends on the forms of ownership of the economy. If now the major industries are owned by black people and the economy suddenly starts doing well, black people are going to be richer. And for me, I don't even believe having more millionaires or more billionaires or black people that solves the problem. I don't think it does. It's just the reverse capitalism. We will still have Alexander, we will still have poverty and stuff. So what we need right now, it is the overhaul of the whole system where we open it so that chances are given to everybody. The fact that we have black billionaires does not mean anything. So when we speak of transformation, we need to transform even the businesses owned by black people. because the whole point is for everyone to have a chance, a fighting chance.
So how do you participate? Like, how does a South African, how do we use democracy to liberate ourselves?
Firstly, we need to deal with ethics. We need to deal with ethics, and secondly, we have to deal with education of black people. Our government and our leaders are as good as us. I always say to people who criticize the ANC and cancel us and stuff, I'm like, okay, in your society, in your local community, where you come from, during elections, the ANC members choose their councillors. Okay, this is the guy who's going to represent us. If he has done the line, that guy is stealing from that particular community, then you're saying it's the ANC. It is your community. You put your uncle there with no matric to be a councillor in your community. And that person is doing exactly what he wants to do, but now you blame the ANC. The ANC is the society. So for me, if we deal with education, conscientize our people, because when people are conscientized, we will also make better decisions about who we want, and we will stop this thing of glorifying leaders. When you see Zuma, we kneel down. When you see Mbeki, we kneel down.
When you see Ramaphosa, we kneel down. Say it.
No, when you see Ramaphosa, we kneel down. When you see Ramaphosa, we kneel down. So So I think that's when we
So ethics, education, and conscientization. Because I know they say an ideological consensus is a prerequisite for a revolution. Our problem is not that we are powerless, we're just disorganized. So we say we then need to start going to the ground and say, guys, this is where we are going.
We need to organize ourselves. Mbeki spoke about it, mass democratic revolution. We do not have to be the same. All of you, let's come together. Whether you are gay or lesbian, or you are ZCC or whatever, all components of the society. Let us rally behind one idea. We might differ, but let's differ within, so that we know that the whole point. That's what happened. What's this? The Freedom Charter. The Freedom Charter was written by people who did not agree. There were Indians, colors. Everyone was there. People who did not agree in anything, but they had one mandate. What kind of a society do we want as South Africans? That's when the Freedom Charter. That's how the Freedom Charter was thinking in 1956 or something. Other extreme revolutionaries left. Ronnie Sobukwe said, I can't be part of this, and he left and stuff. Those are people who fail to come to terms with reality. Doesn't matter how much of a revolution you are. The society will leave you. The society will continue without you. We lost so many brains in the revolution because people fail to come to terms with reality. Even though the collective is doing the opposite of what you believe in, the little influence you have, put it there. This is a mass democratic movement. You can't expect things to stop just because the ANC treated you badly.
But there are revelations now of, I'll just go, because speaking of democracy, revelations of General Mkhwanazi, Bosbia, IDEC, and all of that. There's Mkhwanazi speaking as to how potentially South Africa is ruled by the mafia, gangsters, underworld, and all of that. Now, right? But you speak of democracy, and others are saying, no, South Africa is very ripe for a code. Let's be a code now. What do you say to that? In the context of a democracy, do you think let us be a code or no?
Look, democracy is all about people. People can do whatever they want. But there is a prerequisite to anything, which is the organization of the society. If the society is organized, let's do a coup. Because I know after that things will be okay. So the
intention behind it, what is it?
Yeah, so there must be a powerful idea on the ground that differs with the people in leadership. And you can see that if it's impossible to remove those people, let's do a coup. Because they're delaying this idea that we want to achieve and stuff. So many countries have become better after a coup. So I'm not opposed to anything that people want to do, as long as it's an idea of a collective. But if it's an idea of one person who wants to do a coup, the society is going to collapse, because after that no one is going to come forth to that. But if it's a collective that says let's do a coup, let's do it. I'm for
But
that.
just a quick, what's your view on the Matlanga Commission?
I think people must go to jail. That's what I think. Heads must roll. Anyone who's involved in those things must go. Those things are terrible. Yeah, and it's still in the conversation of democracy. You must not be afraid of calling people out, because what I'm speaking about in the book is that we must take ownership of the system. Once each and every single person can recognize themselves in that particular system, then we will not be afraid of calling each other out. Because everything, when you do something different to the system we want to think, you're out. You're out. Go to China. There's no even need for police in China. Because everyone is alert. Everyone wants to make that particular system work. And all of them are loyal to that particular system. So we need to build a system like that behind our culture.
And my constituents, to be honest, right? They are SDA. And I hear you speak about, let's take ownership of this. All right? And there seems to be, I don't know, the SDA church and civic participation, there's a, I don't know, man, we are different. Right? Because right now, as we're speaking of this, most Adventists say, what? Why are you so invested in politics? I thought the Roman, there's a beast system here. It's Babylon, you must come out of it. Right? Now, I then ask you, because I will quote Daniel 2 and 7 and say, most after Rome is the rock that's coming. So now I invested in other kingdoms when it's clear that those 10 toes are the last kingdoms to rule. So I want to know, do you think is it a healthy perspective to have, or is it just extremism in that context?
In that context, I think human beings must live in this world. That's firstly, all of us.
Are you saying we should not have disengagement
we can't.
from the society that we
are
live in?
part of it. We can't even escape it. You can't be unhuman. I think you can live in it.
You cannot be
unhuman. You can't. You can't. You are part of this system. Whether in your mind you've created this perfect world of going to church, singing hallelujah. One day, we all live there. When we go to the hospital, we meet each other there. Life is the same for all of us. The contradictions of this country affect us the same way. There is no better place in the economy for Adventists or non-Adventists. So we all live in this particular world. So we must speak about it. We must make an impact. I know I may not make the biggest impact ever in my lifetime, but at least I have an idea of what kind of a society I want my kids to live in. At least I have an idea. And my idea, your idea, his idea, let's come together. Okay, we might differ on 1, 2, 3.
But this one is not our home. We're just passing by. My treasures are laid out somewhere beyond the sky.
For as long as I'm here, this is my home.
Take the world, but give me Jesus.
That's fine. I can take both. For as long as I'm here, this is my home.
So you're saying to people who might have that view that, okay, yes, we know the rock is coming, but what do you say? But be active, participate in the economy, because there's a level of political apathy that people are having. Is that the view that we should be having as a movement?
I mean, I think it's hypocrisy. For example, we are against politics, but do you know the amount of politics we do in the church? The amount of backstabbing we do in the church? The leaders we remove there with lies and underworld tactics. We do it nicely. It's in the ANC. If you're an Adventist, you're going to excel. Because all the dirty job you do in the church, you can implement it this way. You will shock people this side because you still have more peaceful people this side. So for me, it's hypocrisy for me to go and discuss politics in the church and backstab each other. And somehow we think doing politics outside of the church is wrong and stuff. No, politics is a human discourse. Doesn't matter where you come from. Whether you're an Arab, whether you are in this side of the world, politics is a human discourse.
But we then preach on Revelation Day. We're going to go into the book now, but I just want my people to feel like we're not going away from them, so that we educate them and we go them preach. In Revelation 13, it says the image of the beast. It says the church and the state, which means they must never unite. The church and religion should never unite.
But
why?
No,
because it was during that era, I think it's 85-76
Yeah.
to 1798, where the Romans supposedly used the power of religion and the power of government to persecute. So they say the moment you have politics and religion combined,
Why are you afraid of persecution? Why do you want to avoid them?
But I say, but you are enhancing it. So you're saying it's futile because at the end of the day, the very same system you are building is the same system that will persecute you.
Yeah. Okay.
And my question was for me, because I'm saying I hear them,
Yeah.
but there's a difference between church and state, church and society.
Yeah.
So how then do we bring that balance?
Yeah. Look, at some point that conversation was very relevant, church and the state, because those were the two things. The whole world was Christian at some point. Not entirely.
I hear you saying
Christianity was
dominant.
dominant.
Yes.
And politics are always dominant. So speaking of church and the state, that was relevant. Now it's not relevant. People don't even know what the church is. People leave and they don't care about the church. They don't. They just live their lives. You can just go out here and meet people in the street. Oh yeah, my parents used to go to church. Oh, my grandfather used to go to church. Church is there, but it is no longer an institution that controls people like it used to. So the conversation of church and the state is it can't be an eternal conversation. At some point, it was a big conversation. It was a big conversation. I mean,
but isn't Donald trying to do that in the USA?
Yeah, no,
That's what we can say.
he can try, but the world has moved from that. The world has moved from that. I mean, Donald Trump is trying to stop people from doing abortion. How can you even try to? Because abortion is not like, you can't. Even if you pass a law that says there's no abortion, people will always do abortion. But somehow he has this idea that then Christians can't do abortion. Bro, Christians can't do a lot of things, but we do them. Yeah. So the world has moved from micromanagement.
What I hear you say is that we need to have a conversation as a church, as humanity at large, and maybe certain beliefs might be outdated or misinterpreted, and we need to contextualize ourselves to that.
That's what I'm talking about in the book. Let's contextualize democracy. Let's contextualize the church. Let's talk about the things that are real. Or if you come to me, let's say you come to people talking about Daniel and Revelation in the beast.
Yeah.
It's fine, you can talk. We can have a conversation and theological discourse and have intellectual stimulation. Yeah. So what? So what?
It's just intellectual.
Yeah. After that, so what?
Because the kingdom is coming.
We are going back to the real world, where the price of bread is determined by who's in power.
Yep.
The price of how you live your life is determined by who's in power. Your medication, health services in the country.
Yeah.
Those things are not theological. Those are real
things on which we face. We can have an engagement on the 7th day, but for 6 days, this.
Yeah.
So you said that we should move away from viewing prophecy as escapism.
Yes, because we like prophecy because we are comfortable with it. Say, okay, whatever happens, at least Jesus comes. You don't mind getting your hands dirty because you know what, I'm not of this world. Well, you are here, my brother. This is your home. This is your home. So that's your idea, that's your theology, that you are not of this world. It's not a reality. It's not
fiction created in a way. But then I'm going to ask you a very critical question.
Yeah.
Alright? I'm going to ask you a very critical one.
Yeah.
And I think everyone at home would want to know this one.
Okay.
Should Seventh-day Adventists vote? Should they spearhead policy discussions? In fact, even now, people are going next week to protest against gender-based violence. And we've seen the purple colors, we've seen people. Right? So, given the purple colors, and people are about to go and protest for women, as an Adventist, should I participate in it? Should I go and vote next year?
Yeah.
Should I be part of going to Italy or going, you get the point, to do policy discussions?
Yes.
Should I be part of that, or am I perhaps flirting with Babylon?
Okay. I think we need to take decisions individually. We must not let the church speak for anyone. The church is an institution. Yeah, it's an institution that we go to and come back. We don't take it out to our homes. When you get to your house, the realities that you face in your home have nothing to do with the church. So, Adventists must participate in the society they live in. This is our society. Like, whether you love it or you don't love it, when there's a crime issue in that particular society, it's going to affect you. So when we have discussions about how the police should behave and how General Mukhwanazi must be supported and stuff, we must be interested in that, because something might happen to your child or to you or to whoever. So our participation in the society is not a theological matter. It's a reality. We have to participate.
Theological matter.
No, it's not a theological matter. It has nothing to do with who you believe in and how you believe. It has everything to do with people are in charge of the air we breathe. Industries are contaminating the air. Then you think we are not of this world. No, you're going to get sick, you're going to die. And when you get to the hospital, you need proper medication. And that medication is tied to who's in power. So if you don't want to have conversations about that. Yeah. So as an Adventist, you have to be involved in
Next year, should I vote?
Please vote. Vote for the African National Congress.
Should I vote? No. Okay, well, to vote for the ANC then. Yeah. But that's fine. So we say, let us participate.
Yes.
Right? Because we're not. Yes, there's heaven.
Yes.
As per our current understanding. We're going to go. Christ will come.
Let me be Adventist for some time. This world, we're given to God by this world. God gave us this world. And He put us here. So why do we come here and say we don't belong here? Do you think we made a mistake for putting us here? No. We're here for
Because I thought to myself the other day, right?
We're here for a reason.
Because of the way, obviously, we grew up in the church and our understanding, right? But if God wanted us to be in heaven, He would have made us angels, right? I ask myself a greater thing, like, why am I on earth? Yes, I know this. Trust me, I know this prophecy. I know this, but why is it goes the doctor? Now, yeah, those even last week. Now, if He wanted us to be there in heaven, why would He create us here?
Yeah. So, look, I don't like talking about these things because somehow I don't think we have enough answers to everything. Yeah. But my personal belief is that we are not here by mistake. This is a garden. So far there is no planet that looks like this one. There is no planet that looks like this one. We have more diamonds in the universe than trees and rivers and stuff. Other planets don't have. When you look at Mars, it's just a planet and everything. So this could be the only miracle this universe has ever given to us. So for me to say we are not of this place, hell no, I belong here. This is my home. So for whatever reason, I will try by all means to enjoy it, make my contribution and my impact, and leave.
And back to the book, because we want more. I'd love the Adventists to be part of the launch, right? Because you speak to our plight as black people. Forget being Adventist or whatever thing. You speak so much on black dignity, which bring me to black theology and democracy. I'd want to understand. You speak of democracy and you believe in it, right? And you believe in the dignity of the African child. Now, is democracy the correct vehicle to uplift the black child? How so? Right? Or you can reflect on the past 8 years. Maybe you can reflect on it, and then also how we can improvise on an escalable gap.
So for me, I don't think there's an alternative to democracy. If there was an alternative, then I would be able to make a difference. What is an alternative to democracy? The fascism or dictatorship or whatever. But looking at the democratic world in the world, like globally, I think democracy has made that system with all its imperfections and managed to somehow liberate the world somehow. With all the problems we have, with all the point is what kind of people are involved in that particular system, which is democracy. The book is just a call to all the brilliant minds that are outside. Say, great guys, let's do this. When I speak to young people, I'm like, okay, you have a problem with the leaders in the ANC. Let's join the movement because we need.
It's like the people have a problem with what happens at GC in the church. As young people, we speak so much about the GC, but we are not even in the local church board. So that's the same thing again, saying we speak so much about the government, but you're not found in the trenches, you're not found in the branches. So who are you Because I feel like the leaders we have today are not per se the reflection of the constituency, but the reflection of those who are active participants, and we are found wanting.
They've managed to master the democratic institution, the democratic system. There's nothing you can do. You just need numbers and people with like-minded people to actually move the people. For me, I would say let's join this particular party. Join the EFF, join whoever. Let's all be involved so that we can build the society we want.
You mentioned something here in the book by Fukuyama.
Yeah.
I don't know what would be your inclination in. Or what's your fascination before?
It's just read about him. The ambassador of Russia to South Africa, the former one, the one who introduced me to Francis Fukuyama.
I mean, you know people, eh?
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
He's gone now. Who's the new ambassador?
Oh, okay, in that time. So he says something, right?
Yeah.
History ended with liberal democracy.
Yes.
I want to understand that. I was struggling to understand that, like, because it says history ends with liberal democracy, but obviously we see corruption, populism, distrust right now. Like, what's the basis of that at that point?
So he wrote an essay in 1992.
Okay.
Yeah, but before it was a book, it was an essay. Francis Fukuyama says, okay, he looks at the world after the democratic world conquered. America conquered the socialism, decimated Soviet Union, and now they have managed to democratize the whole world. Okay. So Francis Fukuyama writes during that time. He said, okay, so this is the end of history. Beyond this, what are we going to fight for? So
because he sees it as a pinnacle.
Yeah, because before that, you were either a socialist or a conservative, liberal or conservative stuff. So there were two worlds in contestation.
Oh, and then this one wins.
Yeah, so this one wins. It's like, okay, these ones have won, so there's nothing to fight for. That's why when you continue, it's like, the world, the future looks boring. That's what he says. The future will be determined by calculations. Some of the things he says are really true, but it is not true that it was the end of history. Now, other nations are rising. Things are different now. America is no longer the bigger brother who used to control the world anymore. Unfortunately, Fukuyama is not there to see it. Yeah. So it's not the end of history. Democracy moves on.
There's more. There's somewhere we're going. And speaking about democracy moving on, and looking at the South Africa, the political space, the economic space, in your book, how will we know whether South Africa is in a decline or ascending in terms of democracy? Where are we? Our democratic state right now? Are we in a decline or are we evolving?
Yeah. I think that will be determined by how many people are interested in the affairs of their country. If we have more people involved in how we shape our policies and how we organize ourselves, I think with all our problems, South Africa will be a better place. For as long as it's just a few people who are deciding on the collective, we are going to continue having this problem. So my book is simply saying, come, let's interrogate this thing that we call democracy. Because at the moment, it's just a few people, a few friends are ruling. You go to America, it's just a group of millionaires who are ruling. And participation is more important now than ever because we have tech now.
Yeah.
Those who are in charge of tech basically control our lives. So it's easier for them to actually control our lives. They don't have to go to the street and have big money to convince us. They just do it by tech. So we need education.
So how do we then build an alternative to that? So you say, like, using the very same mechanisms, but how do we counteract? Because I think we become experts in problem identification, but not being solution seekers.
Yeah, for me, we need to organize ourselves as people. Let's come together.
Now I'm looking at your democratic, maybe your book answers this, and this is why someone should then come there, all right? You look at Hammanskraal, Soweto, Mhlakeng, right? Those are townships, villages.
Yeah.
And you look at Sandton, you look at Kempsbay. What does democracy look like in Mhlakeng? What does democracy look like in Hammanskraal? This one we're doing the vision. I want you to give me a vision of your democracy fully blown for someone staying in Hammanskraal.
Yeah. For me, I think the democracy in Hammanskraal, like the future of the place as I envision it, is that we must fight for equal services from government, so that we don't have to leave Hammanskraal in order to get a better life. Let's build fully functional schools in those areas.
Sure.
Villages don't have to become cities, but opportunities must be equal to all of us, so that we know if I go to school in Hammanskraal or I go to school somewhere else, education is still the same. So we need to find.
We develop our own.
Yeah, we have to develop our own. We don't have to escape our homes in order to make a better life. So for me, a future where democracy functions well is when people in Hammanskraal still have a better life.
So Mororam Primary School is the same as Kuro
in
terms of quality. So
yes.
It's possible through your development. You're saying the same
It is
water we get without getting diarrhea?
It is possible if we all jump into this and find a solution for our future. And the solution, I'm not even talking about old people talking on our behalf. I'm talking about young people coming together. If young people of Hammanskraal can come together and say, gents, we are tired of this thing. Let's make this place ungovernable until the other side. The water situation in Hammanskraal can be fixed overnight. But for as long as someone else is speaking on behalf of the people who live there and the person does not live there, things will not work out. So it's not.
So you're saying that? Do you think we've reached a point? I don't know. Is it political fatigue or what?
Yeah, we are fatigued. We are fatigued because we always hope for something better with the same system. This system is ours. That's what I mean when I say let's take ownership of the system. I mean, if I live in Midrand and I'm involved in making, in organizing the water in Hammanskraal, do you think that's an agency to me? It's not.
There's no way.
There's no way. So that's what I was talking about when I said let's educate our people. If the people in Hammanskraal are educated and they understand the kind of future they want, we'll be able to solve.
And what's possible, I think, because we limited as to where they are now. Their educational, so we, as you say, education, ethics, and conscientization. Now, we are ruled by the Government of National Unity, composed by the African National Congress,
other parties,
the Democratic, what is it? Democratic Alliance, Scheme, Good, whatever, and Freedom Front, and what all of them. I don't know if ZB is there, right? We are ruled by that. I want to know, in 2025 to speak, are we at the most dangerous moment in the context of our democracy, or just a pivot to something better?
I don't think so. I think we are just giving airtime to people who are not supposed to be giving airtime. We are keeping people who are not going to change our society longer in their positions, which is a very big problem. But leaders must be afraid of the people they are leading. And at the moment they are not. They are not afraid because what are we going to do about it?
Just complain on Twitter, text, and
once a society is organized, that's the most dangerous place.
Do you think we are angry enough? Do you think are we angry enough, or has the system managed to pacify us just when we are content?
Yeah, I think especially as black people in Africa, we glorify our leaders too much because of our attitude towards leadership. As a black person, how we respect our parents, how we respect our pastors, how we respect people. We innately respect leaders, and we also respect our leaders to some extent. So that's the problem. So for as long as we stand back, things will not change. But I think people must come together.
I guess that's why you make it when you get there.
Yeah.
I told a couple of people that you come, and there's 3 questions. It's called the SDA grill. Right? They say I must ask you this question.
What is it?
Okay. One says, you are an SDA pastor. How do you balance political activism without pushing your church into partisan identity? Okay. Context. You are ANC. Yeah, your local church, your local church, right? You are ANC. But your members, ANC, DA, MK, Mama, there you are. Within ANC. Yeah. So how do you balance? How do you balance it?
Not even a single time have I ever mentioned ANC in the church. Not even once. But they all know where I stand, and I think that's enough.
No, but they say, you come, let's say, a meeting.
Yeah.
Wedding, the ANC, or your workers' meeting.
Does that really change people's agenda?
No, I'm not saying like.
I always wear, sometimes I wear an SDA t-shirt. Does that say anything really?
To them, I'm saying, I'm talking ANC, but I'm not MK. No.
Okay, so yeah, that way people might develop some resistance to your political ideology, but that's it. I'm looking for pastor here and the boss. So what are you gonna do? Maybe in your workplace. Yeah, but here I'm staying.
But don't you think they will feel
yeah, no, they feel some type of way. I agree, but why do you want to be comfortable? Why? Why do you want to be comfortable?
So you're going to open to different.
Yeah,
you don't have to all agree.
It is.
This is my expression. This is my view.
That's my mantra for life. Let's all be different. People who agree with me actually bore me. I don't want to spend my time talking to people who agree with me. Let's talk. Let's be different. The world was built by people with different ideas, and crazy people who built this world. So if you want me to be peaceful,
it's not true. Where does activism meet Adventism?
Yeah. Prophecy and I would say policy is our day-to-day life, and as an Adventist and a person who is involved in prophecy education, I think our view towards what's happening around us should be different because we have a different background.
Mm-hmm.
So when we speak about the issues within the society, as an Adventism, I actually got to learn about how the world functions from Adventism, how history evolved and stuff. That's Adventism that taught me how where we are right now and which governments have to fall for the next government to come and stuff. So my ideology is based on that. So that's where policy means prophecy for to like a better way. So policy is our day-to-day life, but prophecy is like an overarching ideas of the church. We all reflect to it. The church is the prophetic church.
And it's talking about prophecy then, and say, do you think, as they say here, that the Adventist church is hiding behind prophecy to evade social responsibility?
Yeah, definitely, because it is more peaceful in the church if we don't talk about other things, just talk about ourselves. But once you start opening up to the issues in the society, then you are being viewed as a person who brings trouble, and we don't want that here and stuff like that.
So you want us to live in an utopian world, in an imaginary world.
Yeah.
So once you bring real issues, you're being radical, you're apostatizing.
Human beings are like that. Human beings are like that. But let me give you an example. The issue in Gaza and Israel. There is enough land for those people to live there, for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
What creates a war is what they've made up in their mind, saying, okay, this is what they think about us, and this one's okay, this is what they think about us. That's what starts the war. We can't deal with the Arabs, so we can't deal with this one. So that creates that. So human beings don't want the truth. Human beings just want to be comfortable. The Israeli wants to be in that whole area by themselves. So human beings don't care about the truth. So
what makes us comfortable?
What makes us comfortable?
Then that's why in this case we're having a church that is producing spiritually loud people. It's socially silent. And what's the catastrophe of that? Where we become so loud, we know the doctrines, we know, but socially speaking, we are not there. Because in my view, I think that is why the church runs the risk of extinction. Because we cannot differentiate between isolation and separation.
Churches in Europe have become clubs and brothels. Because the church is gone. Because they wanted to stay the same when the society was changing. So So that's what happened. You know what happened to Nokia?
Yeah, Nokia the phone. Yeah.
The CEO of Nokia once gave a press conference and he said, we did nothing wrong, but somehow we died. Because they did not want to. When people said, let's do Android, Nokia said, no, we're the best. We're going to stay here. Or everyone moved to Android. Then Nokia died. So.
And I think the best one is, can you be a revolutionary as a Seventh-day Adventist?
I think so. I think the Seventh-day Adventist Church can produce superior revolutionaries because of our emphasis on education, our emphasis on ethics, our emphasis on family, and how we need to embrace each other. I think that's what essentially a revolutionary is. Your love for your parents, your love for the people, your love for education, and your love of the well-being of the society. Eventually, that's what a revolutionary is. A revolutionary is not a soldier. A soldier is one of the
things. That's the perspective we have.
Yeah, the soldier is one of the ways to, extreme ways to actually fulfill a certain idea. But at the end of the day, someone who loves his people must die for his people.
That is why we want you to be there the 6th of December.
Yeah.
In terms of the Tales of Democracy.
Yeah, and we're going to have we're going to have former Minister of Finance, Gigaba, we're going to have the biggest journalist in the country.
Yes,
the biggest
Fiso.
thought leader, Fiso Masango. We're going to have the craziest of them all.
And I want you to know, right, we ask people to come through on the 6th of December in terms of the ticket sales and where to get it. But before we do that, I want them to, why call these speakers? What's the significance of someone to come there?
Yeah.
What are you looking to achieve from having these at the table?
Yeah. The reason I call these guys, the other one has been in government for more than 30 years. So when we speak about democracy, he understands the system.
Who's this?
Gigaba.
Okay.
Yeah, in my view, he understands government more than anyone I've ever met. And then the other one is journalists. You know what journalists do? They make you and break you. So they are the active participants. And media is the most important component in democracy because it opens people's eyes. So that's why I chose that guy. He's the chief editor of independent media, which is they have the biggest footprint in the SADC. And then the other one is social community.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it. You go to Nigeria, USA, everyone knows it. So my idea of bringing them together, I just want to listen to them talking about democracy, the book, and
so why should I come? Or why should the viewer come? Or what are we expecting?
I think if you are interested in the future of the country, if you are interested in how the society must function, whether you are a believer or you're not a believer, at the end of the day, our position as the church in the society will exist within the frameworks of democracy. So if you are interested in the future of your church, just come.
So if you want to be an active participant and you want to play a role in the price of fuel and the price of inflation, and you're conscious that you're living in the real world, not imaginary, they should come.
They should come.
So where do we get the tickets? Where's the venue?
Online. The venue is in Benoni, Lakefield. It's a very safe area. It's a very rich area.
Yes.
The venue is not too big.
Yeah.
So those who want to buy tickets, you must buy them now before month end, because I think month end a lot of people are going to buy. So if you have the 600 now,
do it now.
Just do it now. You're getting a book. You're also getting the food.
For
the night.
For 600 rand.
Yeah.
We get it on the 6th of December. What we'll do, we'll then put it on the comment section, the link in the bio, and we hope to meet you. I don't know, what would be your last word? To everyone watching?
Yeah.
Whether Adventist or...
just be yourself in life. Don't let anyone tell you to be a different person.
But when you wake up in the morning, alright, what do you strive to do?
I don't want to die before people understand me. We have to fight to be understood and understand other people. And I think all human beings we must fight to understand one another. You understand me and I understand you. All of us, we must open ourselves up to understanding one another. I think humanity is the greatest museum ever in nature. We are different, but yet we agree on few things. So just be yourself. Everyone must be themselves, so that we can understand the real us.
As you are.
Yeah, as I am. Yeah.
Question of the greatest.
Yeah.
When are we getting a wedding invitation?
Very soon.
Oh, well. Very soon, well. Oh, there's someone now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we heard from the pastor himself. Be yourself, for everyone is taken.
Yeah.
Well, that is the Unfiltered Podcast SDA. See you on the 6th of December, right there at Lakesfield in Benoni. See you there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.